I have made tens of thousands of dollars selling digital products in my freelance business, and I have helped a handful of clients do the exact same thing. This video is going to walk you through some tips and best practices for selling digital products online, starting with everything that needs to be set up prior to launching your first digital product. Because there's actually a lot of work that goes into this setup phase, and people don't realize that. So it's my goal to help you eliminate the overwhelm when you come upon this challenge, because you will know exactly what you need to do in order to get your amazing idea ready to launch. I actually have an entire guide and checklist that is inside Notion, and it's all about how to create and sell your first digital product. If you didn't watch the first video in this series about how to create your digital product, I'll link that for you. But in this video, we're gonna focus on the next phase of development, which is getting everything ready to sell. So I'm gonna bring you back over to that guide in Notion to actually show you what these steps are and basically give you a little bit of a sneak peek so that all of this can be so much easier for you. This one thing needs to be said before we get started, and that is that selling digital products is a long haul that relies primarily on traffic. A common problem that I see is that people give up too soon. They think that they aren't making enough sales to really go all in with their digital products, but on a deeper look at the data, I see that their conversion rates are actually fantastic, and they just don't have enough traffic yet to make this a viable revenue stream. So if you are looking at your digital product sales and wondering what's going wrong, consider the sales data compared to your audience size. Yes, it may be that you need to increase your conversion rates through improved messaging, a better or more aligned product offer, or another tactic. It also may just be that you need to focus on traffic or audience growth and let the rest click into place. The numbers will always give you the answers that you need, including what your next steps to increase sales should be. It's just a matter of collecting the right ones and analyzing them in a realistic way. Okay, so if you watched part 1 in this series, then you have seen this before, and it is my A to Z digital product development plan. And this is a bonus resource inside the digital product sales pack. Basically, that sales pack is everything that you need to get your digital product ready to sell. So we're talking about launch copy, product page copy, checkout copy, emails, all that kind of stuff. Everything that you need so that when you turn it on, it will run and you have something to work with and you don't have to write all of that copy from scratch on your own. So in the first part of this series, we went through the ideation and creation of how to come up with and create your first digital product. And now we are getting into the sales and launch prep and that kind of thing. Overall, the goal here is to make it as low stress as possible. That's why I made this bonus resource in the first place. Like, this isn't necessary inside the digital product sales pack. It's got everything you need in there, but there's so many things in there and so many steps in there that I thought putting together this guide and checklist would make it a lot easier, right? Like, you would know what you need to use next and just how to go through the process rather than having a bunch of copy templates thrown at you. So we are going for low stress when we are getting your product ready to sell. The first part of all of this process is, of course, building the digital product. But now that it's built, ideally, then you are going to be building the sales machine, because I like to look at business as this tap that you can turn on and off as you need, but you need to build that tap first. There are a lot of steps in this phase, but I know that you can do it, and we're going to break them down for you right now. Okay, first, your product is done. Then you need to create some visual assets. And I start here because there's a lot of different things that you will need depending on what platform you choose to host your digital product on. And if you're getting it ready to sell, this can be like a big challenge for some people. So if we get it out of the way first, makes it easier. So we're talking about things like your stock mockups and your video thumbnail covers and all of that kind of stuff, but starting with creating all those visual assets. Then, because this is following my exact checklist that I use for every single digital product that I build inside my shop, the next step is getting everything set up in ThriveCart Learn, which I absolutely love. I recently switched over from Thinkific to ThriveCart Learn, and I am really enjoying it, especially the fact that there's not a monthly recurring fee. Like, that is the hugest thing. It's just a one-time purchase. And I feel like my customers are getting a very similar experience on the user side. So when you are setting up your digital product, you're going to want to set up the LMS that you choose first. So set up the dashboard space and get it all ready for not just this digital product, but any ones that you create in the future. This could be setting up how the dashboard looks, what the product's name is, and the description, and all of those just like overall details, getting those in first. Then you're going to go down into the nitty gritty and start adding in the content. So if it's a template pack that you're selling, then maybe there's going to be an intro video and an intro section, maybe some housekeeping information, and then you get into the template pack itself. If you start with a mini course, then maybe it's going to be based on modules or lessons or that kind of thing. But basically getting all of the content that you've outlined, created, filmed, put together, and put it all into your LMS, which would be Thrivecart Learn if you choose to go with what I've gone with. Now, I like to get all of that stuff in first, because then when I am writing the copy to sell this thing, I'm like, it's fresh in my mind. So from there, I will write the product page, because I've just finished putting all of the content in. I know everything that's in here. It's top of mind, and I can talk about it in a way that is like truly exciting. This is where that template pack will help you, because there's the product page copy in there, but remembering to hit all of your key sales tactics. So like, what's the big promise? What's the transformation? What are the benefits? Any other notable features? Are there any bonuses? Like how I've added this guide and checklist into as a bonus there. Like it doesn't need to be there, but these are extra things that sweeten the deal, right? Then you're going to want to add it to your website. So making a product page for it. Maybe you need to talk to your designer. Maybe this is something that you will figure out on your own. And then you're going to get it all set up in the delivery sequence as well. So we are looking at, how are people actually going to get access to this product? Like, are you going to email it to them? Is it a course that you're going to send them reminders over the next few days or the next few weeks? Is it a template pack that you're going to walk them through how to use? Like, how do they get access? That's what the delivery emails are. There are templates for this inside the digital product sales pack as well, but just keeping in mind all of those details and how you're going to send it over to them, basically. And not only send it over to them, but encourage them to use the product, because there's nothing worse than having customers who buy and then don't use it. You want them to use it. You want them to see results, and you want them to give feedback, so that when you come back to refine, you have that feedback to work with. Next, you're going to want to set your product up in your checkout. And I use Thrivecart Checkout. I chose this years ago because it was the only one that I could find that didn't have a monthly reoccurring fee, but it could also calculate sales tax at the checkout based on the location, which I need to do because I'm Canadian. That's why I got into Thrivecart in the first place. And then when they added in Learn, I was curious, and now here we are, and I'm just a big Thrivecart fan. So you're going to want to set up your checkout next. If you're not using Thrivecart, that's okay too. But just setting up your checkout next after all of these pieces are in place, because you're going to reference these pieces while you are setting up the tech part of the checkout. Next is ActiveCampaign. So I use ActiveCampaign for my email marketing and the delivery emails of this. And that means that I need to set up things like the flows of how to actually send those emails. So these kind of conditions are noted inside the template pack, but basically what happens next and how do you get the tech to talk to each other? That's what you'll set up after you have all of these pieces in place, because you need to have the delivery emails done and you need to have your checkout set up in order to connect them, right? Once all of the core delivery pieces are done, then I like to also set up an abandoned cart automation so you can save the sales. There's a template for this in the sales pack as well, but basically you just want to remind people like, hey, are you going to finish this purchase? Because sometimes they don't purchase right then because they need to like go up and get their credit card, or they get distracted with their kid, or they get an email, So the fact that they abandon the cart doesn't always mean that they don't want the product, and the reminder is often welcome. I would recommend setting one of those up. Another fun automation that I think sets apart my digital product shop and how I do things is setting up interest tagging, so that I can then go and see who's clicking around on my email list on specific products and send them segmented emails to sell those products that they are interested in. So that is something else that I recommend setting up. And then, of course, testing all of your tech. You don't want to skip this step. It's really annoying. It takes a while sometimes, especially if you're just figuring it out the first time. But absolutely always test your tech before selling. When we get into promotion, this is where it can get a little bit different depending on what your product is and what your launch plan is, and just like what your business model, I guess, is in general. So not everybody will have the exact same launch plan. Not everybody will have the same sales tactics. It'll be different, but there are a few things that are going to be standard regardless of what option or route you go with. First is, if you're going to do affiliates, this section is just talking about like, here's some things to consider if you're going to set up an affiliate library and like the kinds of things to include in there for them. Then if you're getting into your launch prep, you're going to need to choose some dates and write your promo copy, which you will have access to inside the digital product sales pack, but you can go ahead and write your own promo copy too and start there. And just know that you'll ideally want to refine that long term. Some people also like to set up an evergreen funnel here instead of doing a live launch. Or you start with a live launch and then you get feedback and you do another live launch and then you go and you turn it on evergreen after that. So you have tons of options in here, but basically you're getting all of the pieces ready to put the thing out into the world and get some sales. Next is social proof. You absolutely need to collect social proof. You need to get surveys. You need to ask people what their results are. You need to get feedback. You need to make this an automated part of your process or a habit that you do regularly, because this is how you're going to keep generating sales long term of your digital products. Arguably, social proof will do far better for you than any copy that you can write. And that's coming from a copywriter. And then the most important step is always to refine and relaunch. If you want to get sales of your digital product, they might not come right away, and that's okay. But if you are collecting feedback, if you're dedicated to helping people get results, and then you're using that information to refine and try again, that is where you will start to see the success long term. Okay, so I hope you liked this tour of the product development plan and sneak peek. I hope that this was helpful for you to see all of the steps that go into creating, launching, and selling a digital product. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will leave you to get to work. If you have made it this far, especially after watching part 1 of this series, then good for you, because this has been a lot. We have covered a lot of ground. But the one thing that I want to leave you with is a reminder that your first digital product does not need to be perfect. It probably won't be perfect, and it might not even get sales right away, and that is okay. By doing all of the pre-work and making strategic decisions about what your customers want and need and helping them solve problems and targeting the messaging to fit that, that's where you'll start to see success. I just want you to know that so many people launch digital products to crickets the first time around. I feel lucky in that my very first digital product and my very first online course both made sales right away. But I'm confident that's because of the decisions that I made prior to launching, and part of because of the process that I followed that I just walked you through too. So if you remember to do the work and make good decisions, go back, collect feedback, refine, and try again, and just don't get discouraged. These things can work, and it can become a viable revenue stream for your business, just like it has for mine. Now, if you want help with getting all of your copy ready for launch and your delivery emails and your product page copy and the checkout copy and all of those little details, and you want access to the guide that we just walked through together, then I will leave the digital product sales pack linked for you below. So you're welcome to check that out. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments here and I will make sure to get back to those. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today.